Hi guys and girls, welcome back to Watch the Time. Thanks for tuning back in. Thanks for coming back to see me. I'm really pleased you've done so, and I'm really pleased to be able to feature my first ever out of order watch. I knew about out of order long before I started my channel. They're an Italian brand. They do some pretty cool stuff. I wanted to get one in hand, so I contacted them. They were good enough to send this over. This is their shaker series or cocktail shaker series. It comes in a cocktail shaker, pretty cool as the case. They're doing some pretty cool stuff over there. The dials on this are stunning. I really wanted to get one in hand because I wanted to see for the price they're charging, which I don't think is inconsiderable, to be honest. I wanted to see whether it was really worth it, or are they a bit out of order for charging the dough? That's kind of where I felt about it. So, yeah, like I said, they sent this over. There's a few to choose from. I've got the After 8. I'll leave pictures of the other ones that you could pick up. Not a bad watch at all, to be honest with you. This has got an NH34 inside. It's got a sapphire coated mineral crystal, which basically is a mineral crystal. It only reads as mineral crystal on the diamond selector 2. Bi-directional bezel. It's 48 click. They say 60 click on their listing, so I'm not entirely sure there. But yeah, really cool looking watch. My wife absolutely loves it. I think it looks very cool. For me, the star of the show with this is the dial. Hand indices are nice. Bezel's not too bad. But as I've said many times before, is it all that in a bag of chips? We're going to find out together. So I'll leave a link in the description. It's not an affiliate link. It just makes your life a little bit easier. But listen, sit back, relax, get yourself a nice beverage, a nice brew, because it's about that time to get the camera turned around and get on with it. All right, guys, so this is the watch. You'll see it's a pretty cool design for a sort of watch box. It's a cocktail shaker, but given the style of watch, it makes complete sense. Instruction manual inside, got some foam and stuff. If you obviously want to use it, take the foam out. Don't leave the foam in there. And that is the bad boy. Let me take it out. Leave it there. And you'll see I've taken off 3 links for it to fit my wrist. Pretty cool, isn't it? I quite like different things like that, to be honest. I'm here for that. On a foam, bit of foam as well. And there's the watch. Yeah, so guys, this is the watch. It's a beautiful looking piece, isn't it? It's not perfect, but we'll run through things together. So this is the out of order. This is their After 8 watch. Cool looking piece. Few colors to choose from, which I'll bring up. You can sort of get an idea for what's good for you. I was really pleased to get this one in. Crystal clarity is really good. It's got a sapphire coating, but we're going to run through all that in a moment. So yeah, out of order, After 8. Inside the watch, it's running the Seiko NH34 movement. You see it's a GMT movement. People went crazy for this movement not too long ago because there wasn't many affordable GMT movements around. And when this came out, it absolutely burst onto the scene. 4R34 went in a Seiko watch. But people were going crazy for this. More and more prevalent now that you see this rather than sort of Hangzhou movements and stuff. People do prefer Seiko just because they're a little bit more of a known quantity. So yeah, 24 joules, 21,600 beats per hour, 41 hour power reserve. It's got a date, it's got a GMT function, and yeah, cool looking piece. And the movement is one that, as far as the movement goes, the 9075 from Miyota is probably one that people prefer, but at least it's got a known entity inside with the Seiko NH34. So there we are. The construction of the watch, aside from the crystal on the front, is all 316L stainless steel. So that's apart from the crystal and the bezel insert. So the bezel was nice coin edging. So aside from the insert, the case, crown, case back, solid endings bracelet and partly milled clasp, all 316L stainless steel. A real mixture of brushing and polishing throughout. There probably shouldn't be so much polishing on a dive watch, but that's what they've insisted on doing. So the case thickness of the watch is 12.8 millimeters. The case diameter, I measure from the 8 to the 2. It was coming at bang on 40 mil. When you go from the 9 to the 3, including the crown, it was kind of 43.9 millimeters. The lug width on this is 20. That does taper down to 18 and back up to 20 millimeters at the clasp. And the lug to lug tip, the tip of the watch, is 48 millimeters, bang on. So I think there's some real Goldilocks proportions there in terms of the watch, and it wears really well due to the fact that it's very compact. The proportions are good. They're bang on in my opinion, to be honest. Well done to Out of Order for the proportions. The case back is a screw down case back, just with some information on there that we're going to run through now. So it's a sapphire dome crystal coated. Not my favorite. It doesn't really amount to much really. Screw down crown at the 3 o'clock position. You got a 48 click bi-directional bezel. I'm not entirely sure why they said on their listing it was 60, because it's definitely 48. But bi-directional, nice clicks, lines up nicely, does the bizzo, and it's a mineral crystal insert on there, not sapphire. That might even have sapphire coating, but really it amounts to the same thing. It's a mineral crystal, guys, just to manage your expectations. Couple mils of taper on the bracelet, bit of polishing, push pins to size it out. Partly mill clasp, again, for the sort of price that I'll bring up in front of me, I'm not so sure we shouldn't be expecting at least a fully mill clasp, and maybe with micro on the fly on there as well. But yeah, it's okay. Friction release, again, maybe not be people's favorite. A few levels of micro adjustment there so you can get the perfect fit for yourself. The crystal covering the dial, I sort of alluded to a moment ago, is a mineral crystal, but it's got a sapphire coating. The clarity is fantastic, and it allows you to see the beautiful dial. But sapphire crystal, guys, should have been on this watch again, especially for the price. The water resistance, you'll make out down at the 6, is 300 meters, 990 feet, or as I say, 30 atmospheres of water resistance, and the weight will appear in the top right. So those 3 links out, it was 142.1 grams. With those links back in, 155, 160 probably. So yeah, a reasonable amount of heft given the proportions are so good. But let's have a look at the dial in a bit more detail. I think the dial on this is a real star of the show, to be honest. It's a stunning dial. You see it looks like bubbles at the top like the drink. I think it looks exceptional. You got a minute track going around the outer edge. Inside that, you got applied elements everywhere except for the 3 o'clock position where you got the date. I'm not enamored with that date color, to be honest, guys. It's not one that I always like saying black or white writing, always. But I'm not so sure it works here fantastically. Maybe a color matched towards the actual dial itself would have been better, a little bit more subtle in terms of how it looks. But you got large indices at the 12, rectangular indices at the 6 and 9, and circular indices everywhere else. You got out of order, so you got triple O and out of order underneath that, printed onto the dial just below the indices at the 12. Automatic GMT, 300 meters, 990 feet above the baton at the 6. I'd like to have seen a applied logo, to be honest. It doesn't impact the dial too much. It's quite subtle in terms of how they've done it, especially with the dial looking as beautiful it does. Because like I said, the dial on this, for me, is a real star of the show. The hands are nice brushing on the hands, good proportions on the hands. They could sort of reach out to kind of where you want them to be, which isn't always the case. You do get lots of companies doing sort of undersized hands nowadays. It seems to be the order of the day. But out of order, I haven't done it on this. You'll see how it's sort of greeny, sort of tealy down at the bottom, and it gets a bit lighter at the top, and with the bubble effect. I've never seen that really on the watch, so it's really nice to see something different. The bezel's brown and green, because After 8 is a chocolate sort of after dinner sort of thing you'd have in the UK. I'm probably get it around the world, but this is the cocktail version. Really cool, nice concept in terms of the cocktail divers they're doing over at Out of Order. You're now going to be thinking, so what's the loom saying? So here's the loom. So I wasn't sure what to expect with the loom. This seems to be one of the big Achilles heels of many brands at the moment. And yeah, it was one of those things where it's good, possibly could have been better in places than other places, as you'll see. Yeah, it was one of those things that I wasn't sure what to expect. For the price, you're expecting them to smash it. I wouldn't say they smashed it, but it's still good. It's still good loom. And on a dive style watch, it's kind of what you want in it. You want it to have at least decent loom, but you should be having fantastic loom, in my opinion. But yeah, that's the loom. In terms of the movement, if you take the crown out, it will hack, and then you can scroll through. So as we scroll through now, changes over. What's that, 7 minutes too? I can live with 7 minutes to the time, so but it's not too bad. And then as we go back through to sort of the position I like to keep it, I like to do things a bit different. Everyone does it sort of this sort of past 10, so it looks like a smiley face. I go for this because I like to be different. When it's in the position where it's unscrewed from the case, if you charge it, turn it away from you, you'll hear it. Pull it out to the first position, scroll towards you, change the date. Away from you, you move the GMT hand. So that's now saying it's, say, 7 minutes past 9 or 10. It should be 10 really. 7 minutes past 10 in the evening at the second time zone, and whatever minutes past 8, probably in the morning, given that's where I've left it, on the other time zone. So there we are. And then when the time comes, because it's a reasonable size crown, it should make it nice and easy to screw up. And there you go. That's everything there, guys. Let me just pop it on the wrist quickly, give you an idea of what it looks like on my wrist in studio conditions. 1 second, guys. Okay, so my wrist is the 7¼ inch wrist, and I think it fits on my wrist really, really nicely. Not perfect, the watch, but the dial and stuff as they've executed, I think is really, really nice. The brushed hands against the sort of backdrop of the dial, the clarity of the crystal, the bezel looks really cool with the brown and greens. But more as ever, what do you all make of it? Okay, so guys and girls, that would now take me on to what I think is pants and pucker about the watch. If you've ever watched before, you not always start with pants. I like to go on high with pucker. So what I think is pants about the watch is, it's not a lot of things. There's a few things I want to mention because this is one I was really looking forward to getting in. I've heard lots of good things about Out of Order, but there's 3 things I want to mention. First off being the clasp. I don't understand why there'd be a clasp that looks and feels quite so cheap as this on a watch that many people class as quite expensive, to be honest. I would say it's mid-range, for me at least. But yeah, the clasp needs to be better. The crystal, being a mineral crystal, like I said, the clarity on it is fantastic. The sapphire coating just doesn't really amount to much, really. I'd love it to see have sapphire crystal, especially again at the price. And yeah, the price, they're going to bring the price up in front of me. For this type of watch, with the movement and everything going on, it kind of is very similar. It's kind of similar specs to what you get on an Invicta. I'm not advocating Invicta. I don't like much of their watches. No hate or nothing, just not for me. But Invicta are far cheaper than this. So make of that what you will. So they're the 3 things I'm going to say is the clasp, the crystal, and the price. What I think is pucker. A few things, because I wouldn't write this off. It's a cool watch. The things I'm going to say first off is the crystal clarity. It really does allow you to see everything going on, and that's in no small part to the fact I love the dial. So the dial's the next thing I'm going to say. I think the dial for this is the star of the show. It's really, really nice. The hands and indices, again, I think they're fantastic. I like the sort of brush nature of them against the real clean backdrop of the dial. It really works. The lume, like I said, not excellent, but still good. So I'm going to say the lume, because I've had watches in recently where the lume is just no good, especially watches that are quite expensive. The bezel, a 48-click bi-directional bezel that does the business. I'm here for it. It's nice to see that they've got a decent bezel. The case back, I'm a bit of a sucker for a case back that's got a bit of stuff on it. Please treat me bad. Have no clue, but it says it on there anyway. And the general look, I think this is a very striking watch. I think in terms of the specs, it could have been done a little bit better. But in terms of the watch itself, it's a real striking piece. So there we are. So the things I'm going to say is I'll go with the crystal clarity, dial, hands and indices, lume, bezel, case back, and the general look of the watch. And that'll take me on to, would I recommend this watch? And I mean, it's not perfect, guys. And I do think it's a little bit overpriced for the materials used, if I'm honest. But Out of Order doing some really cool stuff, some Japanese automatic, Swiss automatic quartz pieces. Yeah, so it's to be, I like the brand, and I think it's a cool watch. I would recommend it, but try and get it at a more reasonable price, discount codes and sales and stuff. That'd be my advice. But yeah, I would recommend it. But guys and girls, as ever, please let me know what you think about this watch. Maybe any other watches you may want to see on the channel. And as always say, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and always watch the time. Take care, guys. All the very best.